What does it mean to know God? Or what does it mean to have a personal relationship with God? Well, let me begin with this. Just this past Thursday, my wife and I celebrated our 26th wedding anniversary. I love my wife. She's an amazing woman. I'm a very blessed man indeed to have her. But I must confess, every year when it comes to picking out an anniversary card, or a Valentine's card for that matter, I always find it difficult finding a card that best reflects how I feel towards my wife, because I swear most of these cards must be written for teenage girls. They're so emotional, so way over the top, so sentimental, so touchy-feely. Sure, it may be how a teenage girl feels about her boyfriend, but not so much how a 52-year-old man feels about his wife after 26 years of marriage. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my wife, just not in the same way that a teenage girl may love her boyfriend. But suppose for a moment I actually thought that my marriage was supposed to be like how you read in these cards or in a Hollywood movie. Well, if I actually thought that, I can pretty much guarantee you that my marriage would not have lasted 26 years. So here's where I'm going with this. In church, we often talk about knowing God, of having a personal relationship with Jesus. And yet I fear how we talk about it is really more how a teenage girl would present it. Emotional, over the top, sentimental, touchy-feely. Now, of course, feelings should play a part in our walk with God, in knowing God personally. But I fear that our contemporary understanding of what it means to have a personal relationship with God simply doesn't square with reality. Because a relationship with God is very different from a human relationship. For example, with my wife, I can actually see her. I can actually touch her. I can actually smell her. I can actually hear her when she talks to me. But my relationship with God, knowing God personally, it's by faith. God has revealed himself in Scripture of who he is and what he requires of us. And it is my responsibility to live that out. And yet here's the thing. In the same way that my marriage would probably end if I thought that it was supposed to be reflective of what I actually read in these anniversary and Valentine's cards, in a very similar way, if we have a wrong understanding of what it means to personally know God, if we think it's this grand, airy-fairy, great emotional experience all the time, well, we would become very discouraged and maybe even tempted to walk away. And I see this as a great danger amongst many teenagers today, many adults who are striving to serve Christ, to know God personally. They're reading their Bibles, they're being active in church, they're praying, they're trying to live out their faith on a day-to-day basis. But it simply doesn't match with what their pastor is saying, their youth leader is saying, the Christian celebrity is saying, what they're seeing in Christian movies about what it means to know God personally. And I'm afraid some of them simply walk away as a result. So maybe for some of you watching this video right now, what I've just been saying actually sort of makes sense. You feel discouraged in your walk with God. Well, maybe it's because you simply have a wrong understanding of what it means to personally know God. Our relationship with God is simply different than having a relationship with a fellow human. It just is. So hopefully you've found this video beneficial. If you have, and if you know anyone who is struggling with this very issue right now, don't be afraid to send it to them. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already, please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope to see all of you next time. Thanks so much.